All righty, everybody, back again on a Monday while most people are at work, but that's all right. Real excited about this one. Got a really talented individual coming onto the podcast who I am just now getting to get familiar with, things he's done as a guitarist and musician, and basically we're gonna go over what the new band he is in, Paradise Slaves, which is killer. Going to cover all that, get to know what that's about, how that happened, cover the album that's going to be out soon, sooner than later. Just over a month from now, I believe, in May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, correct. Yep.
But yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on here, Tyler. Excited to talk about your new band and get to know you and have my viewers know who you are and what the band is about.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to it.
Yeah. So we went over before we went live how you're doing and how I'm doing. So got that out of the way, and
everything is good.
Everything is good. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to open it up to you and have you kind of talk about yourself a little bit, what your background is for, with music, things you've been associated with, whatever you feel like covering. And cool. Get people to know you and get me to know you.
Yeah, I can give you the basic rundown. If you need anything more in depth, let me know. But as far as music background, it's funny. I feel like it's going to be different than what a lot of people think. Mm-hmm. So I've played in metal and hardcore bands, the last 20 years of my life. And, that's what I've loved to do. But I actually am inspired by like punk rock. I'm more of a punk rock guy. So like a lot of my stuff is kind of that mid-tempo melodic punk rock stuff. Just growing up in that era, I grew up skateboarding and I still do here and there, but that whole scene. So that surprises some people. But then once I tell them that, it kind of makes sense because a lot of our songs have kind of those punk rock kind of fast parts and the melodic stuff. And that's just something I've always loved. So I feel like by blood, I'm playing metal and hardcore, but I'm very highly influenced by all that kind of stuff, which a lot of people don't know. So like Strike Anywhere, Rise Against, and
absolutely,
like Pennywise, and even like Millencolin and some of the poppier stuff. All that stuff is what I grew up loving. Yeah. So there's that. Couple other bands I played for. Once Beloved was my first band. I shortly I'll be 41 soon, to put it in perspective, I guess. But shortly out of high school, I started a band called Once Beloved. Kind of a metalcore band thing. We had a lot of fun with those guys. We still friends to the day. Everyone kind of lives in different spots now, but we still talk. Right. John, that's in Paradise Slaves, was in Once Beloved with me. Kind of going off track a little bit, but I had met John because Once Beloved used to play with Diecast a lot. So we just became friends from hanging out. And then when we did our Once Beloved record release party, probably, I don't even think I was 21 when that happened. I'd have to look, but John had
youngin'.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
John, I remember I was chatting with John and we had just played with Diecast. So I invited him out to that show and we were just, hanging out and we became really good friends. And then shortly after that, Diecast needed a guitar player for live stuff. So I started filling in with them. So from back in the day, John and I in Paradise Slaves have been playing together since then. Whether it be in X Band or when I was filling in for Diecast.
Right.
A few years ago, I did a band called City of Homes. Again, kind of your mass metal band type thing, melodic, whatever. But John played in that. Had some kind of funny history in that band, which a lot of people around here know or might not know. But our original lineup, we had Matt Dice, who was in at the time CKY. He's back in All That Remains. But he was playing bass for us. On the album was my my buddy Miles. At the time he was he's a Nashville guy, but at the time he was playing drums for Paramore, which was cool. So again,
that's cool.
Bunch of weird influences.
Yeah.
And we had a kind of a lineup that changed for the live stuff. But we recently in December, there was a time where we didn't talk. That band kind of fizzled out. But we recently reconnected and we did a reunion show just to kind of end things how they should have ended instead of just kind of fizzling out. So that was back in December. That was a killer time. It was good to hang out with everybody, and we had a killer show. And that kind of ended the year. And now we're going into the Paradise Slaves coming out in the spring. So I was kind of just, that was the end of the year stuff. So here, John and I are still 20 years later playing guitar together in a band still. So,
I mean, that's pretty cool, man. You got a really good bond, it sounds like, with John. You know, you guys go back, way back, and you know, you've got to know each other's, you know, play styles like the back of your hand.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. We just, you know, we always have a good time hanging out and playing, and we play well together. So it's like I think there's probably been projects here and there where I've maybe tried other people, and it's always like goes back to like, you know, John and I got to be in this band together. We play well together, and we write well together, and that's, you know, for me, playing music is being, you know, part of it's like you're out traveling, doing stuff with people, and that's a lot of the battle is like you got to get along with everyone too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, you can take the most incredible guitar player in the world, but you know, what's he like to hang out with?
Yeah. Does he shower? Does he, you know,
right?
Any of that?
I know, right? A quick funny one too is this is right before COVID was like a big thing when it was new.
Right.
I went out and played for Jamie Josta from Hatebreed for his solo stuff for the Josta and Friends. And that was a cool one. That was like at that he does that a lot. He still does that. Jamie's like one of the guys that's always working. So he's awesome. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome. He's got his band. But that was at the time when we did that. We took Kirk from Crowbar and Down and stuff. We took Dino from Fear Factory. So we did a Josta set as like a 4-piece, and then we bring out Kirk. We do some Crowbar, some Kingdom of Sorrow, all that stuff, and then we bring Dino out and we do some Fear Factory songs. It was basically a big party, right? But at that time, John was filling in for a band called Uncured. And it's funny. So we did a European tour, and John calls me and he's like, dude, we got the European tour for the support for Josta, and we're sharing a tour bus. So funny enough, man, we made it over to Europe for that stuff. And we were hanging out that whole time too. We were just at that point in 2 different bands for that tour, but we somehow always end up playing together. So I guess something works.
Yeah, something obviously does work, man.
I mean, us together to be in a band or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, talk about the Paradise Slave stuff, and you know, you guys playing on that, the songs I've heard together. I definitely really dig the vibe between you guys playing on that, the 3 songs that people could hear. It's really great stuff. I really love the way you play. I think I hear what you're talking about with that punk, you know, on the songs that are out.
The latest song we did, the
Aesthetics of Serpents.
Yeah, that song probably has the most of that. There's kind of that punk rock part.
Yeah, I would agree. And speaking of Crowbar, I noticed some of the names that were on that solo record that you did.
Yeah,
I
forgot to mention that. Yep.
Yeah, Kirk, freaking Bjorn from Soilwork. You know, Brock did some stuff on there with you. I'm just like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, geez, like those are like 3 of my favorite people.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, that was a fun project. So that was after the European tour, and I had a bunch of stuff lined up, and then COVID kind of messed everyone's lives up. So
no kidding.
I just had all this energy and ideas. So I basically decided to make a solo album at my house that I wanted to play, you know, guitar and bass on, and I did program drums. I have an electronic kit. I did a little mix up of both, but I wanted to do a thing where I wrote all the music. I pulled John in for a couple songs. John did some collaboration on the song with Kirk and the song with Bjorn. And we did that and just self-released it. I had Joe Kochi that from Within the Ruins. I don't know if you know those guys, but I grew up with Joe as well. He lives close by, so he has a private studio. So at the time, we did some of the vocal tracking and stuff down there, and then just mixed it and put it out. And that was kind of just like, if you listen to that album, it's just kind of like getting my aggression out in a time when I wanted to be out touring and doing stuff, and I couldn't, as well as most people couldn't be doing anything. So
I'm amazed. I'm amazed I didn't hear it until a couple of days ago too, when I actually listened through all the way through on Saturday morning.
Oh, nice.
I'm listening to it, and I honestly feel like there's a little bit of like an old school metal sound to it, with like the punk that you're talking about in there.
Yep.
And I replayed Only Way Is Through probably 20 times that morning. Like when I got to that song, I'm like, this is probably going to be my favorite song off of this, record that you did. I'm like, and then it was an epilogue, and I was just like,
That one is really cool too, because Brock's daughter is on that. So at the end of the at the end of that song, there's that kind of sing-along choir sounding part in the background. That's Brock's daughter, which I think the time she was only like 11 or 12, and it was some of her like her soccer buddies, which is cool. I wanted to have originally, and I'm glad it worked out this way, and I'm glad it's her and her friends that makes it even better. But my idea at the time, before knowing she was going to do that, was I wanted to have like a choir, and I had some ideas and I had some spots, but with COVID and everything, I couldn't get. It was just hard to like lock down people that wanted to come out, or a bunch of people and recording. So I believe it was Brock. He's like, I got you covered. I know exactly what you want. And I don't think we spoke much about it. He's like, I know what you mean. I got you covered. And he sent me the rough of his daughter and her friends doing that sing along at the end, the only way part. And that was that, man. That's my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of that song. So very cool. Yeah.
Brock, the MVP of the record.
Yeah.
Coming in with that save, so to speak.
And that kind of transitioned to how Paradise Slave sort of got started. It's kind of the next part of that is, I still have a volume 2 that I'm working on. It's just like in the chaos of life and everything going on, I kind of got busy with stuff and, whatever.
Right.
So at that point, some of those guys, I was going to do all the same vocalists and then a couple bonus tracks, just, newer songs. And at that point, people were going back on tour. Some people were busy, some people weren't. And it was just to lock everyone down and put out a volume 2 in a reasonable amount of time. It was pretty unrealistic at the time. And Brock was one of the guys who's like, he was going to be on it again. So he's like, why don't we just start a band? Why don't we just go for, like, I'm around, you're around,
why not?
Friend of mine. And he's always down to hang out and go play and stuff. And I'm like, so I thought about that. And I was like, if I'm going to put a bunch of stuff into a band, it'd be nice to do one that I can actually go out and tour with and play with. It's hard when you have a bunch of different vocalists, to make that more than a studio album. And then that's kind of that's the start of it. So he was going to sing on a track, which isn't released yet, but the With Hell in His Eyes is the title track. And that was originally the first song where we were kind of like Dark Verses happened and we decided to just start a band. So With Hell in His Eyes is kind of the continuation from my solo album, but it turned into the start of Paradise Slaves. So it's kind of cool.
That's crazy how things just the catalyst or the point where it just basically becomes something else, not just for music, but just life, how it'll play out.
I know it's funny, man. And it's, what's really cool is that like at that time, our drummer, Ryan, if you guys don't follow Ryan Manning, he became one of my best friends through. It's funny how I met him too. We were like Facebook friends. It was just one of those things that I feel like has never happened to me, but I see it happen all the time when these guys grab a guy from YouTube or they grab this and it works out incredibly. That's never in bands. I'm always struggling finding drummers or people. And I was just scrolling through one day and Ryan he did a playthrough. I think it was a Metallica song, if I remember correctly. He did a few and he did like his take on it. And it was like incredible. And I was like, holy shit. And we just started chatting. And I think I was trying to figure out if I could do a live release show for Dark Verses. So I kind of hit him up randomly, like, hey man, I might have a gig for you. I love your playing. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to sort out. So we got chatting and we were just talking about music and he learned a bunch of my stuff quick. And then again, that shifted to like, that's not going to work out logistic wise, but Brock and I are going to be doing this thing, which turned into Paradise Slaves. So, Ryan was pretty much through it from the start. And he also, another cool fact that people don't realize, Ryan's a studio guy and he's an awesome songwriter and he's written multiple songs on the album too. The first one we released, A Fever to Defeat, was a song Ryan wrote, which is cool. A lot of people don't realize. I mean, sometimes I like when bands all write stuff. And that's why I feel the way we sound, because everyone has their own songs. But I feel like a lot of people don't think about that sometimes. They just think like, a guitar player wrote a song. It's like, no, actually our drummer wrote that whole song as is. And we didn't change a thing. We played the parts he wrote and we loved them. So,
there's also that thing about where people think it's just the singer that's always doing like the lyrics or compositions and stuff.
Yeah. So what's really cool about Peace Slaves is everybody in the band writes, and so that's why it's kind of like as a whole, when you listen to it, there's a lot of diversity. It sounds generic to say that, there's something for everybody, and it's really generic describing bands and albums, but there really is something for everybody on this, I think, so.
Hey, if it's the truth, it's the truth.
Yeah, I guess.
If you like the melodic side of metal, you've got that on there. If you like the heavier moments of metal,
I don't want to say too much. The next song we're going to drop dropping one more song before the album comes out. And it's going to be a real heavy, fast one. So for all the people that don't know how they feel about us yet, or make fun of us for not being super heavy, we got a fast ripping one. So I'm excited.
Shut down the haters.
Yeah. I'll throw a couple of those on there. So I'm excited for people to hear that one too. That's one of the ones John wrote for the album, and it's definitely ripping. So
I'm glad to hear, man. I definitely like the songs that are already out. I listen to Dreamers the most.
Yep.
You know, I'm a big. My thing is I love the really heavy stuff, but I've always, for any kind of heavy music, gravitated towards when it's like heavy, but melodic, like really melodic too.
So that's a good example.
And then the chorus.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the chorus in that is infectious. Like that when that chorus hits, like that volume knob in the car or wherever I'm at listening to it just goes up, you know.
That's a
perfect go ahead.
That's a perfect example of like I love Rise Against. I always have, and I don't want to say I was going through a phase of listening to a lot of them because I always do, but I wanted a chorus like that, kind of anthem like, catchy, simple, you know, just like a big epic chorus. And if you hear the guitar octaves and stuff, that's kind of punk rock inspired, like a Rise Against or something, that melodic kind of anthem, you know. And just the big stompy first riffs. It's a complete shift. It starts out super heavy and then it completely changes. So I joke, it's like when I was writing, I'm old school a lot with writing. I don't ever, this is weird too to most people, I don't ever pick up a guitar and like play and write. I have this old school book and a pen or a Sharpie, and I write stuff out how I'm thinking it, and I write out the structure and I write it all. And then I pick up a guitar and I kind of like, go through the parts, and then I kind of cross and pick and choose, and then I rewrite it, and then I go demo it. But my notes for that were funny because it was like crowbar riff, the first riff, and then the clean part was inspired by it sounded to me like the Police or something. So it was like crowbar, the Police, Rise Against, and then it was like breakdown, and it's just the notes. So looking back now, never thinking what we were going to do with this project, when I look back at my little riff book, the notes are hilarious. It's just like little code names for everything. And if a band inspired me in the moment for a part, it's just all these stupid notes. So I feel like it's very caveman-like, but if you looked at it, you probably laugh, you'd be like, this is how this guy writes.
No, I probably would. But at the same time, I understand kind of like, I don't know if I want to say the reason you write it like that, or you label things that way, but I love it. I always like hearing the process for how things start, and the process where how things evolve into, like, if it's, for example, if something was going to be predetermined to be just like a real face melter, right?
Yes.
But we're somewhere along the way, all of a sudden you've got like a piano like solo part in the song, and it gets like really melodic and just almost proggy or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love hearing you're covering some of the stuff I even have written down, like your songwriting process.
The last thing to connect that to, because we talked about Ryan and Brock and John. So the other parts to that, well, the John part was that obviously when we were doing the band stuff, and we were like, we wanted to get John on board, and he's always the glue to, like, if we have these ideas and they're missing parts, he naturally comes right in and knows what we're trying to go for. So like, obviously, John being in the band made sense. I don't know if that's me or you. Sorry about that. My computer's being
not me.
So the bassist part is funny, man. We had this long time thing going where when we were just kind of writing and rehearsing, we would just pipe. We had the bass tracks and we would pipe them out of the PA just to kind of play along. We didn't have a bass player. And then my brother, when he was around, he's always gone with Killswitch doing that stuff. But when he was around, he was going to play bass for us. So we were like, that's fun and cool, because he's family, literally, I guess. But realistically, if we get moving with this stuff, all the times we're gone doing stuff, he's going to be gone doing stuff. And does he really want to play more music when he's home from playing music all the time, right? He's got a life outside of that too. So it was kind of just a fun thing. If he was around, he'd play bass, whatever. And then we kind of left that spot empty for a while, and it was hard to fill because I know a million musicians and they're all amazing. I know a million great bass players. I know a lot of guitar players that play killer bass, but we didn't want to grab a guy that was going to play bass just to play bass. We wanted someone, we were already in this writing process, like getting this album together, where we were all so committed to it and we understood it that like it felt weird to bring in someone randomly just to have bass. So we kind of waited forever.
Right.
And actually the way that it worked out was that, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but if not, Paul from Diecast had passed away not too long ago, couple summers ago now. But so I went to the service, obviously, and all the Diecast guys were there, and Brad that played bass, Brad was on Internal Revolution, and there was the original bass player, Jeremy, and then it was Brad. So Brad was in it for the long haul. And I always loved traveling with Brad. He's awesome again. And he used to tour manage, and he kind of has all things covered. He's a great dude, great bass player. He's a tour manager. He's responsible. It's like all the shit that,
there's a lot of hats.
Yeah. But I remember I hadn't seen him in years, and he was one of the first people I saw at the service, and he was just kind of like, "Hey, Tyler," and I ran up, gave him a fucking hug, and that day was all about just for Paul. But he had reached out shortly afterwards and was like, "Are you still playing with John? Are you guys doing anything? I'd love to hear it. I haven't talked to you guys." And it was like, "Actually, we are, and we're looking for a bass player." And then I kind of brought it up to everyone, and I'm like, "Dude, I think it's got to be Brad." I'm like, we don't even need to try him out. I'm like, if he's interested and has the time, he's the guy. We just knew. And he came in, and he's written a bunch of stuff with us since, and he has a bunch of demos that he's writing for us too. But what's cool is we didn't have to teach it all the stuff that was already written. We didn't have to teach him one thing. He just came in and he nailed everything, and it was like he was playing with us the whole time. He just like fit right in, So it was. I
love it when it's kind of seamless that way.
Yeah. So when we were kind of gave a shout out to Paul when we went to film our videos. We did those out in keep wanting to say New Jersey, but we did them in Pennsylvania. But when we drove out, I'm like, man, Paul would be psyched that we're all still playing music together, through all the times we had.
Yeah.
I think Paul somewhere up there is either making fun of us or he's happy that we're still playing, So
it's probably a bit of both. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
Probably. But no, that's cool. That's cool, man. Like it really sounds like you guys have a really nice bond, with Paradise Slaves and how things come together or came together. It's one of my favorite things to hear about. I love hearing about, bonds and just the way you guys, hold each other up or hold each other accountable as well. Right. The way that you're all involved in the songwriting and, the way things take life, so to speak, which goes into the next part of what I wanted to ask is how exactly when you guys were, if you were shopping around for a label or if you were approached by a label, how exactly did it end up that Spinefarm ended up being the home or the one for the record for Paradise Slaves?
So that's funny. So originally, what's that?
I was just saying, how did that happen?
Oh, so originally when we set out to do this, we were just kind of like just playing the music. We were just writing stuff for fun. It was kind of like I said, I came off of a solo album. I was kind of like in the groove of writing music and wanting to have friends be on stuff. So we just started writing, and then we all started kind of demoing stuff together and put some songs together. And it's funny, man, because like we joke, like we were just happy to. Brock would be laughing if he saw this, but we're just happy to listen to this stuff. I have this speaker in my kitchen. When people come into my house, we hang out in the kitchen and the dining room. That's the hangout spot. And we would joke. It's like, if it makes it into the kitchen, that's good. If it's in the mix, if it sounds good in the kitchen. And we were just excited to have a few drinks and listen to what we were working on in my kitchen. It was a joke. And it was like, go figure, this is the band that like sticks and turns into something. But originally, like a lot of things, how things should be, it was just for fun. And we were just, didn't really know what we were going to do with it. We were just getting songs out. We did shop it to some other labels. And I won't name them, but we shopped it to a few labels and everyone was really cool about stuff. But Spinefarm had reached out and when I thought about that, it's just, they understand, like the Paradise Slaves album is a little bit all over the place, but it makes perfect sense, if that makes sense. style wise, and looking at their roster, they have a lot of cool bands. Like they have Atreyu, Bullet for My Valentine. They have Sleep Token, or they had Sleep Token. They just signed to RCA. Villa Vallo from his solo stuff. So it was really cool. All the stuff was all over the place. And I was like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, dude, we fit right into this label, this family of like bands we either grew up playing with or listening to. And then all these other cool bands I like on the other side. And they're just kind of like, Spinefarm is the rock and metal side of Universal. So, it just made sense. So we kind of got talking to those guys and, worked it out through them, and they've been awesome. Tim and Darren over there and their whole team has been behind everything and super positive about it. So, it's kind of just felt like that was the home. So,
well, that's good. All right. So you decide to go with them, and it made sense. So why continue to look when the fit was looking you in the face, so to speak?
And that's another thing. Like, we do have some heavy songs, but we're not necessarily a metal band by any means. So we didn't want to be on like a metal label or a hardcore label. We had to find somewhere that fit. So like I said, if you actually look at their roster, they have a lot of really cool bands that are all kind of like every which way, but it all makes sense. So we kind of fell right in the middle of that somewhere. And it just was like, that everyone was happy about that. So here we are.
That's good. And overall, though, we've been touching on throughout the talk how it's felt and the process for the record being created. But I want to go in a little bit deeper into that, or talk about that more, because I feel like I want to know more about the process for writing the record.
Yeah.
Like, things like songs that, are most important to you, or, the song that spoke to you the most when it was being made up to the point it was finished, or, favorite parts on the record, without, of course, giving away, too much that you shouldn't give away about it. Cause want to have some surprises when it comes out for folks. So, I'd love to hear more.
I'll talk about the 3 that we have out. Maybe that'll be kind of give some insight. So like, A Fever to Defeat was the first one that the label released. Not obviously not a video for it, but that was the first one they released. That was one of Ryan's songs. So that was cool, because I'm like, dude, this is really cool. Like we're Spinefarm's putting out the album, and our first song is one that our drummer wrote. That's awesome. I feel like that doesn't always happen. I'm like, this is really cool. So, Ryan was, I hope, stoked on that one. But was a really catchy song. He wrote it. We loved it. So it was really cool that we just had, one of our guys wrote a song, and that was the first one into the universe. And that kind of got things going. And then Dreamers, the next one for the first video we did, like I said, the punk rock parts and stuff are kind of what I'm into. So I was excited to get that out. And I remember we had a party at my house in the summer one time when we had a demo of it. And I think we just played it like to listen to as a band. And like a bunch of people, probably like 30 or 40 people over outside hanging out. And I remember like when that song came on, everyone was like really quiet, and they were like, what the hell is that? And they're like, that's gotta be a single. And I was like, really? I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, we're literally just going back and forth listening to demos and mixes, and everyone was like, can we hear that again? So I was like, dude, maybe this is the single. I don't know. Like when we actually do a music video, maybe this should be one of the singles. So it was cool to see, just having fun and listening to stuff as friends, and seeing people's reactions and being, psyched on stuff. So we did that. And then the latest video, Aesthetic, that's fun, because that was one of the ones we all wrote together at my house when everyone was in town. We wrote that kind of all together. And then, so that has influences from everyone, which is really cool. And then that whole lead part after the second chorus is kind of like a throwback to like the old In Flames era stuff. A lot of bands don't do that stuff. They do. And I love it. I love all this stuff, but they either do like, we're not like a super shreddy kind of band. So we didn't want to have like lead parts just to have lead parts. We didn't want to, it had to fit the mood. And that was John's idea about kind of like a throwback to the old school In Flames. And if you hear it now, it's kind of our little, our little cheers to them, bring back like what we loved back in the older metal, those little parts, parts like that, those kind of triumphant, like little sections. So that part's, it's cool to hear that. It's cool to see the video for that. And we shot those videos back to back. We did those in over a weekend.
Yeah. So. Probably a lot of hours in that too.
It was 2 really long days. I feel the worst for Brock, because he flew in, either, I forget if he got there late Friday night or early. He might've got there early Saturday morning. And then we shot all day Saturday, all day Sunday. It was probably like 14, 15-hour days. And then he flew home, Monday morning. So, it was definitely a long weekend, but.
I wanted to ask before we move on to the videos, because I wanted to talk about the Dreamers one specifically, but for the 3 songs that are out for people to hear now, which one has gotten the most reception? Like what have you guys noticed of people say, no, this one's my favorite because of this reason, or Aesthetic of Serpents is my favorite because like maybe the solo that you're talking about?
Yeah.
What's the feedback been like?
It's been a little different because they're both so new. I think the Dreamers one initially has gotten a lot more just because that was the first one the label was pushing.
Right.
And then the Aesthetic one's been doing well too because it shows a little bit of a different side of things. So I think people seem to be excited about that, but they're both still fairly new. But I mean, fortunately, people seemed psyched on both of them. It needs a little more time. It's still new. Still new in the universe. And Fever to Defeat, like I said, that was the first single. So that was cool because it was like we finally could release something into the universe and it wasn't a secret anymore. It was, you know what I mean? It was like, here's our first song out on Spinefarm. So for me, that felt good just to get that out. I could send people to listen to. And the videos have only been out I think Dreamers has been out like a month or two only, 2 months maybe.
Yeah,
or something like
pretty new.
And Aesthetic's only a few weeks in. So so far so good, man.
I think I've been looking at the numbers, and the numbers are good. On YouTube for them. They're ticking up for sure. And Dreamers, though, how did that concept get thought up for the video? Like all the screens and the performance parts of it and all that. Like whose ideas were the reason behind the direction for that? Because I really love to look at that video.
So this is a cool question, and nobody's guessed it yet. I posted on my Facebook once, like I have some stuff. I was actually, maybe if anyone on here, well, I'm going to kind of spoil it unless you want to guess it. But I tried to do a giveaway with some video footage stuff. Like we had some.
Oh, yeah. I know yeah.
So I originally was like, somebody's got to guess. So that video was I came up with the idea for that video after watching a movie. The movie's been out for a while, but I don't think I had seen it. So I watched this movie and I was like, oh my God, this is kind of what I'm thinking for the music video. Mm-hmm. So the idea with the screens and kind of the radio station or the broadcast station and some of the big things, I'll have to send you a picture of the movie mock-up and then the mock-up I made to kind of resemble it. But with all the sticky notes with the stuff you see and all the random stuff, it was based after a movie. And nobody's gotten it yet. I've got some good guesses, but nobody's gotten it. I don't know if I'd say it's a horror movie, but it's kind of a horror movie. It's kind of suspenseful, actiony. It's kind of not scary, but
if you could allow me to take a guess real quick, I don't remember the name of the movie, but is it the one with Mel Gibson?
Not Mel Gibson. Which one were you thinking of?
Well, I can't remember the name of it, but he's in a radio station and he does like a talk show on it live on the radio.
Okay, no, it's not that one.
Okay.
But yeah, so when we were going through ideas, we all had some ideas and nothing really stuck. And it was kind of one of those emails like, so-and-so has this idea. Oh, that's kind of cool, but how do we make it work? Or that could be cool. And it's like, we didn't want to just shoot just to shoot. We're like, we're going all the way out there. We got to do something. So, for whatever reason, I watched this movie randomly, and then I just kind of I started collecting all the old like ham radio equipment. And I was going around finding what I could, and a dry erase board one of my buddies had. I'm like, hey, do you still got the big dry erase board? Can I borrow it for a video shoot? And there's an old military. A lot of stuff is hard to make out in the video, but as a whole, it makes up that whole set. But I borrowed an old military trunk and all this random stuff, and the sticky notes in the board play a big part in it. But so far, nobody's gotten it. I mean, we could just get into it here. I mean, I think it's all right. We're already on to the second video, so I'm okay with with letting out what it was. And then I do have some stuff from that video shoot that we were thinking of shooting out to someone for some sort of prize. We'll still do that. We'll just do a different, I'll do a different thing. But if you want to take any more guesses, or I can tell you.
Well, I was gonna say I might go back either after this and watch the video again to see if it clicks in my mind, because I have like a ton of different movies going in my head, but I'm bad at remembering titles for a lot of movies.
If
So
it helps, I
whether
could
it's
probably look up like the year it came out, maybe. Or if you want
okay,
to, why don't I
yeah,
look up? Why don't I look up the year it came out and what they categorize it in? Because like
okay,
I think it might be under horror movies, but I don't want to have your brain going in a different place. You know, it's actually newer than I thought. Okay, so 2018.
okay.
So it's actually fairly newer-ish, even though that's kind of a bit ago. And it's categorized online under horror/sci-fi.
Horror sci-fi.
So if that helps.
Man. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it right at this moment. To be honest with you.
Yeah. We can leave
Uh,
it. We
oh
can,
wait. Ready Player One?
Nope.
No.
Nope. We can circle back to it, or you can
Okay.
I can tell you, or I can tell you, or we can touch base in a few days and see if anyone was like, hey, I know what that was. If someone wants to guess it, I have some fun like random stuff. I don't know if anyone actually cares, but like a lot of times when I'm throwing stuff away after a video shoot or something we do, people are like, oh, I would have taken that, or I wanted that. So we have like a bunch of random stuff, like some, our guitar picks and the strings and like some of the lights I use. All this stuff is just in a box that it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but maybe someone that's into collecting or likes videos or likes collecting stuff from bands they like or music videos, I could send them out a box of stuff that we use during the shoot. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's go with at the end of it. If you want to give away what the movie is, you can, or I can send you a DM if I have another guess, because I think that's a cool idea to see if somebody could get it and win it.
Let's wait a little bit, because what's funny is I think when I posted this stuff on my personal Facebook pages, there was so much going on with the band stuff that it probably got lost. So a lot of people I did that. So if anyone sees this or you want to pass along to anyone, I'll put together a little prize pack and send it out to someone.
Yeah, I think that's the best option right there, because I don't want to be told what it is.
Yeah.
And, so I want to keep this as like a cool thing that you're doing and give everybody that opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. I'll do, I still have some original Paradise Slaves t-shirts. I don't know what I have for sizes, but I have some original ones from before we got signed to the label. We have new merch coming out, which is killer, but I have some cool original ones that I just found. I have like maybe large or extra large. I have a couple. But I'll throw in like a shirt, and I can throw in like some of John and I's guitar picks and stuff, and I can throw in some stuff that was actually in the video just for whatever. If someone wants,
that'll be a killer prize, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, if anyone guesses that, I'll send something out. Whoever's right, I'll get all their info and I'll shoot them out a little prize package.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of an investigative thing after this to see if I can decipher it.
Awesome. Yeah. Message me with whatever you're thinking. Let me know.
I definitely will. And then what else could we say about Paradise Slaves that's not giving anything away, as far as maybe like cool facts about the band that you like to talk about with Paradise Slaves?
It's a pretty Misfits lineup in the sense of like, so our drummer Ryan, he was playing for Pentagram, which is funny because that Pentagram video is going viral now, even though they've been around since the 70s. But there's that Bobby Lee bleeding. I don't know if you saw that or not yet.
Yeah, but I have.
Ryan toured with them for a while playing drums last year or so, and so he was a part of that for a while and toured the world with those guys. And then he also plays in between this in a band called Blitz Kid, which is kind of like a horror punk kind of Misfits.
I've heard of them.
They're killer, yeah. So he plays with them when he's not doing this stuff, and then there's the bands I was in, and then me, John, and Brad were all in Diecast together. So that's kind of like I feel like Paradise Slaves sounds like none of the bands we were in, but that's good.
That's a good thing, very good thing, because there's those people out there that would expect to some kind of degree for it to sound like some of those bands. We
always joke, if someone told me this band was made up of guys from all these bands, I would be like, I don't want to hear that. What the hell is that going to be like? I don't want to. it's just, but it's funny. We're out, but everyone does really, cool stuff on their own time. So everyone keeps busy. So,
yeah. And then, how have any of the shows you guys have done gone? How were those?
The
for
shows
Paradise?
So we've only played 2 shows so far. They were both killer. So we played over in New Hampshire. Our first show we did with Kill Switch and Fit for an Autopsy, which is a kind of a crazy lineup.
Nice.
That show, that was a killer show. That was our first show. And then after that, we went to Alaska with 3 Days Grace. And again, that was a killer show. Just being in Alaska was awesome, but the 3 Days Grace crowd, stuff went well with that, even though we're a bit different, but their crew and their crowd was awesome. I have some stuff I'm announcing in a few weeks. I can't say it yet, not to be that guy, but I can't say it yet. But on April 2nd, I'm going to be announcing some cool stuff. Our next show that is announced, we're with Five Finger Death Punch in Alaska on August 9th. And then, so I have some stuff I'm announcing soon. We have the Five Finger Death Punch show, and then we're working on some stuff after that, but I can't say any of that stuff yet because, the logistics of everything and making sure everything is, for sure. So.
Right. No, I totally get that. But I do hope, though, that I'll have an opportunity for an Oregon date for you guys to come through my state at some point.
I would love that. Yeah. We'll see what the year brings. We're trying to figure that out now and trying to lock in some stuff for the support for the album and stuff in the fall time. But it's definitely, it's as much as this band was meant to just be a record for fun. It's a live band. It's just we all have fun on stage. And I feel like that energy really shows. Like, it's just, everyone has a good time. And, we love playing live. So
yeah. And
I hope more people can come to, get out and experience it.
Yeah. Well, with the degree of talent that's in Paradise Slaves, I would be surprised if the show wasn't killer, because it's absolutely will be killer.
I know we at least have fun.
Yeah, and that's important.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, then what's going wrong?
But no, but realistically, there is a lot of work into it because we got guys out. So I have a spot I'm at now. I have my own venue in the town that I live in.
Right.
So this is a little side story, but I have a venue called the Gold Room, which I'm in right now. You can't really see from this, but I'm at the bar side of the Gold Room, and it's themed after The Shining, the Overlook Hotel.
Oh, that's sick.
So I do up here. I do all sorts of private events, more low key stuff. We've done like live audience podcasts up here. We've done some smaller shows, but I booked downstairs. There's a bigger room downstairs that I book in. So we do stuff down there, which is really cool. So when the guys are in town, we usually hang out and rehearse up here. We'll catch some shows downstairs. But there's a lot into it is what I'm getting at with like everyone flying in to travel and then
logistically and everything.
It's not, we got to put the time in. It's not just like a quick run through the songs. It's usually like a full day of work of setting up and prepping for it and rehearsing. And when everyone's around, we try to make the most of it. So we'll put in an 8 to 10 hour work day a few days in a row to get ready for, whatever we need to do. So.
Well, that's being dedicated. That's for sure, man.
Yeah. It's like when everyone's around, we want to hang out as much as we can, and we want to play as much as we can. So if we're getting ready for a show, it's like, well, we're here to rehearse, so we should rehearse as much as we can, because it took everyone a lot to get out to do it. So
yeah. Well, I'm so happy that the band even exists, man. Because when I heard A Fever to Defeat was obviously the first song probably anybody heard, I was already sold.
Nice.
I just, there was nothing about that song that didn't just hold my attention, and then Dreamers hits, and I'm just like, well, these songs just keep getting better and better. Aesthetics of Serpents comes out, and I'm just like, okay, this song's really good, but Dreamers is still my favorite, but holy shit, what's going to be next now? And then what you're saying about what's coming being like a really just
we got a ripper coming next. Yeah, we got a ripper.
I'm ready to have my face ripped, man.
It's fast, it's heavy, it's angry. There's some fun breakdowns in it. There's some cool, fun guitar work in it. And I feel bad for Ryan having to play it on drums because it's a pain in the ass.
I'm sure he did.
But no, yeah.
Props to Ryan. You know, if he watches this, man, that guy's playing is killer, dude.
Yeah, like, dude. Ryan's one of the best, man. He's just like such a good pro attitude. Comes up, fucking, he's always smiling. He's always psyched to fucking play music all night long, and then I'll hang out all night long. I'm used to miserable drummers that were like, you know, looking at their watch and they're like, when are we done here? I'm supposed to meet someone at the bar. Or like, oh, I was gonna go out and get pizza with this guy. I'm like, why are you here? We're supposed to have fun too, you know? So yeah, fucking props to him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to all the guys, you know, in the band. You know, I have nothing but respect. You know, of course, some of the names I'm new to, but what I've seen and heard, I'm impressed and I really love it. So, I mean, I'm thrilled, man. I cannot wait for May to get here, for the album to be out and in the wild. I would be honored to write up some kind of review for it for you guys. And, you know, if you want to use it, use it. If not, that's cool. I just want to do it.
Please do,
and but no, dude, like I've had a lot of fun talking with you. I wish I could talk longer. You know, like I said, my kid, he gets out at about 3:15 my time from school. But I've had a lot of fun talking to you, man. I've loved getting to know you a little bit, having some history about yourself and, you know, Paradise Slaves, you know, and learn about the band. And I couldn't be more excited for you guys. I think you're going to be big. You guys are going to tear it up.
We'll try our best.
Yeah. But
definitely.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to say to the people that watch this now or later on?
I was going to say thank you to you for having me. It's been fun. And if anyone is listening or cares to hear what I have to say on this end, man, I thank you guys too. And hopefully you can find something you dig in the Paradise Slave stuff. And you know, hopefully we'll get to meet some of you guys out when we're traveling, playing shows, or if anyone is into that stuff, you know. We're all about hanging out and, you know, having a good time. So hopefully I can see some people in you know, out in the wild.
Yeah. And you'll definitely see me if there's a date in my neck of the woods.
Hell yeah.
And then for people that are watching, if you don't already know where to find the band, they're on iTunes. They're on, you know, I'm sure you guys are on, you know, Spotify, Deezer, you know, just all the major ones.
Everywhere, Go ahead. I was going to say, if you head on over to the Spinefarm website too, they have you can pre-order all the stuff now, the vinyl, the CD. There's a couple exclusive hoodies and shirts we have up there and some other stuff. And, you know, that'll be updated as we go. I know a lot of people are excited about vinyls. So we went through the process of getting one of those. That was important to a lot of people. They wanted a vinyl. So that is up for pre-order and should arrive May 2nd or maybe even sooner if you pre-order it. So.
Yeah, hell yeah. Maybe I can talk the wife into let me do one of those.
Well, I know a guy, so maybe I can get something sent your way.
Well, dude, no. Ton of fun talking with you, Tyler. I've had a blast. You've been nothing but awesome. I think people are going to love the band and the album when it's out. Yeah, I keep saying it, but I'm excited. I'm really excited for the future for the band. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Look for this on the YouTube here in, you know, the next couple of hours. It'll be on my Liars Pacifist page as soon as the stream ends to be shared around. Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch, dude, about doing a part 2 if you're interested in that and see who of the guys can maybe attend from afar, you know, in their neck of the woods.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, stay in touch. And again, thanks for having me, man. I'll be talking to you. And send me when you watch that video again, send me your
All right, man.
All right, man.
You have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming on.
You too, man. Take care.